Welcome to another tutorial of ProfLearn YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to have a discussion on possible topics that you need to prepare as you are preparing for your May-June exam for GCSE Edexcel Math. So this paper, we're going to focus on possible questions that can be asked in paper 1H, and this is the non-calculator paper. And something that you need to remember is that this paper usually takes 1 hour 30 minutes and is a total paper. It has a total mark of 80 marks. So we're going to look at various topics which are going to focus on. For instance, we shall look at estimation, we shall look at prime product factors. We need also to, in this paper, we are going to focus on LCM, and this is just HCF rather, and these are some of the topics that you really need to prepare on as far as your exam is concerned. So we're going to look at the first question, whereby we're told that Keltan works out that the answer of this calculation is 0.42. Use estimation to decide if this student is correct on in that case. So you see we're given 4.85. An estimation of that is actually going to be 5. That's correct to the whole number. And 0.429 correct to one decimal place is going to reduce to 0.5. So, and once you've done that, we can be able to estimate. This is going to reduce to 5, and this is going to reduce to 0.5, 0.4 rather, and this is going to be reduced to 0.05. Then we're going to check how many times, which number do we need to multiply by the numerator and denominator in order to get the whole number. We are going to go for 100, and this is going to translate to 10 will be cancelled with 0.4, we remain with 10. And then we are going to have 2 zeros cancelling out here. We end up having 4 times 5 times 10 divided by 5, which is going to translate to 40. So an estimation for this is 40. So we can be able to say Kiltana. All right, this is Kiltan. Yeah, Kiltan is not correct. Is incorrect because the place value is not correct, because the place value is wrong. And if you're new to ProfLearn YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime we are going to upload further tutorials on GCSE Math and A levels, you'll be notified. So we need to move to the next value of we need to move to the next question, whereby we are told write down the highest common factor. All right, in the next question we are going to look at how to express numbers to the as a product of their prime factors. So this is one of the question also you need to know how to answer, because at least a question will come from this section. But I've just given 90 as an example. Express 90 as a product of its prime factors and give your answer in index form. All right. So in order to work out this, something that we need to realize here is that we can be able to, and 2 can go to 90, so which means that can say 2 will divide 90 and it will go 45 times, so we shall say 90. 2 goes 45 times, 3 goes to 45 15 times, 3 goes to 15 5 times, and 5 goes to 5 once. Then once we have this, we can be able to say 90 can be written as 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So 90 equals to 2 times 3 times 3 times 5, and 2 times 3 squared, because 3 is multiplied twice, then times 5. So meaning this is a product of the prime factors. 2 is a prime number, 3 is a prime number, and 5 is a prime number. So this is exactly what we are going to write at this point. And then now we are going to write down the highest common factor of A and B. Now we are given numbers as a product of their prime factors. Then we are supposed to find the HCF this case. So we are going to draw this like this, and in these numbers that are going to be in this shaded region are going to give us the HCF. So we can put we have set A, we have A here, yeah, and then we have B at this point. So the factors which are common in the region that intersect between A and B are actually 2 and 3. So that is 2 raised to power 2, because in the first number A we have 3 squared, but in B we have 3 cubed. So meaning 3 squared is also in B. So that's why we are taking 3 squared, because it's common in A and B. And then we are going to write at this point here 5, and here we have 3. Then we have 17 and 2. So the highest common factor is 2 times 3 squared at that given point. So we are going to say our final answer is actually 18. That is exactly what you are supposed to do whenever you are given questions like this. Now, we are going to look at another question whereby you are supposed to arrange numbers, maybe fractional numbers, from the smallest to the largest, or to the largest to the smallest. Remember, sometimes question will be asked where you are supposed to arrange them in ascending order. If you are told ascending order, it means that you are arranging from the smallest to the largest. But if you are told in descending order, it means that you are arranging from the largest to the smallest. But you cannot be able to arrange this number if you don't know their sizes and their values. Yeah, so it means like 1/7/6 can be written as a mixed fraction, because 7 is greater than 6, and also 25/12 can be written as a mixed fraction. And that's exactly what we are going to do before we start working out this question. This is going to be 2/1/12, and this other one, the first one here, is going to be 2/1/6, right? Okay, so next we are going to, I can decide and find, because we have whole numbers 2 all true here, but the fraction we have 1/6, we have 1/4, we have 2/3, we have, and 1/12. So in decimals, these numbers are one. The first fraction there is 2.1666, 2.25, 2.66, and 2.083. So we can see that 2/3 is greater, followed by 2/1/4, followed by 2/1/6, or 1/7/6, and then we have the smallest number, which is 12, or 1/12. Then we're supposed to sort them and arrange them in the order, in descending order. So meaning we are going to start from the largest to the smallest. And if we do that, we shall have our values here, well demarcated, well stipulated, and well arranged, so that you can be able to earn all your 2 marks. Another concept that you need to understand, can also be asked in another in whichever situation, is how to find the range. A range is usually the highest value minus the smallest value, and in that way we can be able to pick the largest value here and the smallest value, then we find the difference between the two numbers. So under this question also, we are trying to learn how do you perform fractional operation. You see, we are subtracting, so at the same time you are learning and you are getting a skill on how to answer questions on fractions. And then you can see now we are remaining with 2/3 and 1/12. So we need to make 2/3 to have the same denominator 12. So what will we do in order to make it have the same denominator 12? We are going to multiply by 4 at the numerator and at the denominator, and this is going to translate to 8/12. Then if we subtract 1/12, we are going to get 7/12 as our final answer. Now, once you have prepared on how to answer questions to do with the fractions and also arranging them into the correct order, we are going to change the gear and look at how to expand and simplify expressions, algebraic expressions. So that means that as much as you are preparing for this May-June exam for your GCSE 1H paper, non-calculator, you need to know how to expand brackets. And then we have the first part of the bracket, and we are going to multiply every term, the first term and the first term and second term of the first bracket to the bracket in the second part. So we are going to multiply x squared into the two terms in the second part here. So plus 3, and then we are going to multiply into the two terms in the second bracket. And then if we square this, we're going to get x squared times x squared is actually going to be x power 4, and x squared times 5 is going to be 5x squared. If we multiply 3 times x squared will be 3x squared. 3 times 5 is going to give us 15. Then we have multiplied this, we have multiplied this, we multiplied this also, and this one. And remember, the sign was multiplication. And then if we put the like terms together, we're going to get this as our final answer. As much as you are preparing for your exam, remember to look at laws of indices on how to work out indices. Now remember, we can be able to write the 4 that we have there to the power of 2 at the base of 2 like that. And then now, since we are having power 5 outside, is going to affect all the powers that are inside the bracket. But we can first simplify the bracket, because 2 squared times 2 cubed is going to translate. We are going to add the powers because the bases are the same, and this is going to translate to 2 raised to power 5, right? And then we can be able to say now this is 2 raised to power 5 into bracket power 5 equals to 2 raised to power x. But 2 raised to power 5 into bracket 5, it means we're going to multiply 5 and 5 so that we get 2 raised to power 25 equals to x. Since the bases are the same, so the power should be the same, then we can say now 25 is equals to x, and that's what you're supposed to do in order to earn all your marks. Question 5 is about polygons. Something that you need to remember about polygons is that angles of irregular polygons are different. The sides of irregular polygons are different. But something that we need to remember is the formula for finding sum of interior angles of an irregular polygon or regular polygon, because the formula is the same. But let's answer first, what makes this polygon irregular? Already we have given the reason, is that the size of the angles and the size of the sides of these polygons are different. So we can say, therefore, this is an irregular polygon. We are told that angle PQR over RST is 1/2. So if we decide and let that this angle here, if we decide because of this expression, we can say, since we are saying that angle PQR and angle RST are a half, then it's we're going to let angle Q to be x, then angle S to be 2x. So which will mean that if we are going to find the size of angle RST, we are going to use the formula for sum of interior angles of a polygon, and we are going to substitute the number of sides. Because there are 5, we can be able to say 5 minus 2 times 180, which is going to give us 540 degrees. Those are the sum of all the angles of the interior part of that polygon. Then we can say, now we can add, if we add all these angles here, they are going to give us 540. And then we are going to do that arithmetic and algebraic operations, so that we are going to get 369 plus 3x equals to 540. And then we can now solve this. Let me just make space, and then we can divide by 3 both sides. If we divide by 3, of course, subtract 171 divided by 3, this is going to be 50 what? This is going to translate to 57 degrees. 57 degrees. So meaning that if we are finding RST, remember it's 2x, so this is going to be, if this is 57, this is going to be 57 times 2, which is going to translate to 114 degrees. Question number 6, we are supposed to write 8,104,000 in standard form. And something that we're going to assume here is that when this number is written like this and we're writing in standard form, the decimal is here. We assume the decimal is there. So we need to move it backward until it's between the first two digits. So we are going to count how many steps are we going to move backward like that. And we realize that those are actually 6 steps. And then we're going to say our answer is going to be 8.104 times 10 raised to power 6 as our answer for that case. Now, you will be asked a question to write in standard form, or you will be told, you'll be also be given a question you are supposed to write as an ordinary number. If a number is written in standard form, to convert it as an ordinary number, the steps that we're going to use are as follows here. So since the power of 10 is negative, so we are going to put the 4 dashes behind towards the left like this. But if it was positive, we were to put the dashes to the front. That's how I want you to understand this question. So this is going to mean that we are going to now in these dashes we are going to write 0 0 zeros like that. Because I'm saying, because we are having -4, I decided to put the dashes behind to the left of 6.1. Then once you have written the 4 dashes, and the 4 dashes are equivalent to the power that we are given there, we are going to now move the decimal backward like that. 1 step, 2, 3, 4, like that. So how many steps do we move it? 1, 2, 3, 4. So meaning that our decimal point is going to be at that point. So our answer is going to be 0.00061. But if you are given this whereby this is a positive, then in order to write as an ordinary number, if 4 was a positive, you are to say 6.1. Then we write how many dashes to the right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then on those dashes we write 0, 0, and 0. Then now the next step is moving the decimal in front. How many steps? 4 steps. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have our final answer as what? 6, 1. How many zeros? 0, 0, like that. So that's if the value there was a positive. So I'm giving you these 2 scenarios so that in time, if the question will be having a positive value, you'll be able to know what to do. If it's a negative value, you'll know exactly what to do. Let us now move further to the next part. We are told that roadworks were being carried out between 2 motorway junctions of 32 kilometers apart. Due to the roadworks, the speed limit was reduced from 80 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour. Average speed check camera were installed to find anyone exceeding the speed limit. So the speed limit is actually 50 miles per hour. And we are told that a car took 20 minutes to travel between the 2 junctions. Then will the driver receive a speed fine? You must fully justify your answer. So basically what you are going to do here is to first work out the speed in miles per hour. So once you have worked out the speed in miles per hour, you convert, is that speed more than 50 or less than 50? So if it's more than 50, this person is going to be fined. So but for you to work out the speed, remember the distance between the 2 junctions that was given was 32 kilometers apart. Then meaning that since we are told that 5 kilometers is equals to 8 kilometers, we can do the conversion so that we can be able to change this 32 kilometers to miles, so that we can be able to use it in order to work it out. So if we do the conversion, we are going to have our miles equivalent to actually 20 miles. But time was given, the time the car took was 20 minutes, so we need to convert the time into hours, which is going to be 20 over 60, and that is a third an hour. But we know speed equals to distance over time, so we are going to divide the distance, 20 divided by a third, and then we're going to remember, when you are dividing 20 by a fraction, we are going to convert the division sign to a multiplication. You are going to find the reciprocal of 1 over 3, and then we're going to get 60 miles per hour. Now since the speed limit was 50, then we can say now yes, we'll be fined, because 60 is greater than 50, which was the speed limit. And I believe you've understood what you are supposed to do in such kind of a question. And if you are new to ProfLearn YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime we're going to upload further tutorials, you'll be notified. In question number 8, this is actually a question that relates the area of a trapezium and the area of a square. Something that we are told here is that ABCD is a perimeter, has a perimeter of 200 millimeters. So something also you need to remember here is that 1 centimeter equals to 10 millimeters. We are told that the perimeter is 200 millimeters, so we can be able to know the side because ABCD was a square. And if we say let each side of this square be x, then we can say this side is x, this is x, this is x. So meaning if we add x, x plus x plus x is going to give us actually 200. So meaning we can simplify this into 4x equal to 200 divided by 4 both sides, so that we can be able to define the value of x, and the value of x is going to be the side of this square. Then I'll decide, so in order to work out in centimeters, because the dimension of the trapezium is in centimeters, I can divide by 10 so that I'll get the side of that square to be 5 centimeters. But area of a square is usually side times side, which is 5 times 5, which is 25. And further, we are told that the area of the square is 1/3 of the area of the trapezium. So in order to find the area of a trapezium, we are going to take the area of the square times 3, and that's going to be 75 centimeter square. But the main question for this number 8 was to find the length EF. All right, finding the length EF. Let's see. EF, we can be able to say the area of a trapezium is a half base, a half h into a plus b, and a plus b are the two parallel sides. So we can say this a and that's b, and that's the h, which is 5, the height, which is 5. Substituting everything that we have here, and then try to put the like terms together and simplify all that we have, we are going to get our final answer for the part B to be 16. Right, so that is what we expected. So the side EF is actually 16 centimeters. All right, so once you've gone through that, I would like also to change the gear and take you through statistics. You may be tested question to do with question from statistics, and we are told the table below gives information about time taken for the group of 20 runners to complete 5 kilometers park run. And then we are given the frequency, we are given the classes, we're supposed to find the model class. Something that you need to remember here, model class is the class with the highest frequency. Model frequency is 7, so the model class is from 28 to 32. So this is going to be a class with the highest frequency, is the one that we call the model class. So this class is 28 to 32. Then we are going to transfer that here so that we can be able to have our answer like that. Work out an estimate for the mean, and remember, mean is given by summation of f of x and sum of f. So we can be able to go ahead here and try to fill in the information and try to find what our summation of f and summation of fx is. So in order to get x here, we are going to find the midpoint of the classes. So 20 plus 22 divided by 2 is going to translate to 21. 22 plus 24 divided by 22 is going to be 23. 24 plus 28 divided by 2 is going to be 26. Right? This is actually 26. 28 plus 32 divided by 2, this is going to translate to 30, and 32 plus 36 divided by 2 is going to translate to 34. Once we have that, now since we are having the value of f and the value of x, then we can say fx is going to be 2 times 21, and that's going to be 42. 4 times 23 is going to be translate to 92, and you do the same to the rest of the questions. And something you need to remember, so for you to find f of x, summation of f of summation of f is going to be 2 plus 4, which is 6, plus 3, which is 9, plus 7, which is 16, plus 4, that is 20. And to get summation of f of x, we are going to add everything here, and that's going to translate to 558. You need to be very careful the way you are putting the adding, and also ensuring that you don't make any mistakes in order to earn all your marks. Then we need to move now and substitute what we had gotten from the top, and if you see and work out this, you are going to get 27.9. We're supposed to rotate the shape S 90 anti-clockwise about the point 0. This particular question, I'm not going to do it because the software of rotation did not work. But otherwise, remember that the center of rotation is this point 0, 1 here. So whenever you are rotating that, you need to draw a line from the center of rotation to the point that you want to rotate, and then you measure the angle in the anti-clockwise direction until you get the image of that point. Right, this is the center of rotation. Otherwise, we can now move to the next part. Write down the single transformation that map trapezium S onto T. Actually, if you can see now, if we identify this point here and this point, the coordinate of this point is -1, -1, but the coordinate of this one is 2, -1. So you can see the y values remains the same, but the values that are being affected are the x values, x coordinates only. So that will mean that this is a translation in the horizontal direction. So this is a translation by translation vector -3, 0. So if you want to know how that happened, you can count how many steps do we move from the point 2, -1 to the point. We're moving to the left, so that is why I have a negative at that given point. Question 11. A fitness class is held on different days each week, either in the morning or in the evening. The ratio of men to women that attended is 3:5. That more women attended the class than men. 2/3 of the women attended morning class, and of the women who attended morning class, 46% less men attended an evening class. Write down the ratio of men to women who attended the morning class as 1:n. So a question like this is a question from ratios, and I believe this kind of question cannot miss. A question from ratio cannot miss. So as much as you are preparing for your coming exams, ensure that you are doing question to do with ratio, so that you get used on how to approach that question. So now, focusing into this question, we're going to say let the total number of people who attended these classes to be x. Let me just write this down so that we can be able to write every step as it's expected. Let the total number of people who attended be x. So because we were given the ratio of men to women who attended, and we have let to be x, then it means men who attended is going to be what? Men who attended is going to be equal to 3/8 of x, and women is going to be 5/8 of x. But there's something that was mentioned here, that more women attended this class. So meaning if we take 5/8x minus 3/8x, the answer should be 30. And this is going to enable us find the value of x. So if you work it out and multiply both sides, you multiply by 8 and divide by 2 both sides, then we're going to get our final answer to be 100 and what? 120 people attended. The number of women in the morning class is going to be equal to what? First, let us try to find the number of men. That will be 3/8 times 120. That will be actually 45. Number of women is going to be 3/8 times 120. That's going to be 75. So number of women attended morning class. So in order to get the number of women, exact number of women is going to be 2 over 3 times the number of women. This is going to be number of women in the morning classes is going to be 2 over 3 times the total number of women. That is going to translate to 50. Yes, 50. And then now we are told that number of men in the evening class. We can now, because we are told of the women who attended morning classes, 46% less men attended the evening class. So we are going to look for number of men who attended the evening class, because we are told of the women who attended the morning class, 46 less men attended. So we are going to take 100 minus 46, and then we are going to say to get 54. So we can say now 54 times, all right, just write fast, number of men in the evening class is going to be equal to, we were given this information here, so in order to work out this, we're going to say 54 over 100. So that's going to be 54 over 100 times 50. The reason as why I'm using 54 is because 46% less men attended. So meaning we are going to have those who attended is going to be 100 minus 46. 46 less men attended. So meaning those who attended were 54, right? So we're going to say 54 over 100 times 50, which is going to be 27. So in order to get the number of men in the morning class is going to be 45 minus 27, because we have a total number of men to be 45, but those who attended evening were 27. Now we can subtract and know those who attended the morning class actually were 18. Now since we're writing the ratio between men and women in the morning class, it's going to be 18 is to 50. And remember, the form we were to leave it is 1 is to n, so we can divide by 18 both sides, and we can have it as 25 over 9 as our final answer in this case. So I believe you've gotten value and you've known exactly what you are expected to do in this question. I wish you all the best in your upcoming exams, and as much as you're preparing, make sure you do more practice, and practice makes improvement. Now, graphical question will not miss, especially drawing quadratic graphs. So you need to learn on how to fill in the table correctly, and then you use the values from the table, then plotting the points in order to get the graph and use the graph to answer some questions. So this is exactly what we're going to do in number 12, to complete the table of values for y equals to x squared plus 3x minus 1. And you are going, because x is -4, it means that you are going to substitute -4 anywhere you have x in the equation y equals to x squared plus 3x minus 1. So this is exactly what we are going to do right now. Remember to ensure that you put the in bracket like that. So this is exactly what you're going to do with all the values of x, so that we can be able to get the unknown. And then this one, if you do the same with -2, now in the place of -4 you put -2, you are going to get your answer as -3. If you replace -4 there and put -1 and work it out, you are going to get -3 here, and then we shall have -1. Now the next step is to plot this point. We are plotting once you plot all the points clearly, then you can now have your graph like that. So the most important thing is that you need to know how to plot this point. For instance, here we were given the first point was -4. We were to move up to where we have 3. The second point was -3. You go on the x-axis in -3. You move down to where you have -1. When you have -2, you move down to actually negative 3. When at 0 we were having 0, y was negative 1, so we move out 0, we move down to negative 1, and at 1 we move up to positive 3. So this is exactly what you are supposed to do in this part, and then now we can be able to answer the question that follows. Use your graph to find an estimate of the solution of this graph. X squared plus 3x minus 1 equals to negative 2. So meaning the y value is negative 2. So we are going to draw a line, because if you are to solve that quadratic equals to 0, if the question you are being told to solve is equals to 0, you are to check where the graph cuts the x-axis. But since you are told this is the quadratic that we have drawn equals to negative 2, we are going to draw a line across here where we have negative 2 and check the point of intersection, and then read on the x-axis which value of x is there and also which value of x at this given point. So I'm just approximating what the values could be. So which means that at this point I can say is roughly 0. Negative 0.10, negative 0.5, and this is roughly negative 2.7. Yeah, so I believe you are going to do it personally and try to see the answers you are getting at that given point. All right, the next question is how to answer a question from the algebraic curves. And here I need to mention that let's see what we are told. For a student to pass, to achieve at least, for a student to pass was supposed to achieve at least 38% in order to pass the test. So we are supposed to find the percentage of number of students who actually failed in that class. So in order to get that, we need to go to the test score percentage, go to that 8, like that, and then where that line meets the curve, we're going to go across and read the value we have here, and that value is 24. Now to work out the estimate for the percentage of students that fail the test, we're going to say, because 24 are the one who scored marks below, but if you were asked who passed, it will be 24 subtracted from 180, because 180 is the total cumulative frequency in that case. But here we are working out the percentage of students that failed the test. So we're going to say that 24 over the total number of students, which is 120, and then times actually 100, and then that's going to translate to 20%. 20% of the group failed the test. You cannot miss a question to do with probability, and in this case we are given a Fair's 8-sided spinner and a dice, and Carrie spins a spinner and then rolls the dice. Complete the probability tree diagram for the case, and then we are supposed to complete the probability tree diagram. That before we go into that, you need to analyze and know what the probabilities are. So we are finding the probabilities of the prime. How many prime numbers do we have here? Prime numbers are numbers which are not divisible, but they don't have another factor other than themselves. So we can say the prime factors here are 2, 7, and 5. Yeah, so prime factors here are 2, 7, and 5. So the probability, these are the prime factors. And then the probability of prime factors is going to be P into the total outcome. So this is going to be 3 over 8. So if you are saying that the probability of getting a prime is 3 over 8, the probability of not getting a prime is going to be 5 over 8. Remember, probability add up to 1. So in order to get the probability not a prime number not landing on a prime number, it will be 1 minus 3 over 8, which is 5 over 8. Let's move to the dice first. We have 6 options. So greater than 2, we are going to have 4 options. So probability greater than 2 is actually 4 over 6, which can translate to 2 over 3. So we can now use that information to fill in and complete the probability diagram. Landing on prime, we had said is 3 over 8 here. This one will be 5 over 8. uh, greater than 2 is 2 over 3. This is meaning this will be 1 over 3. 1 over 3. This is 2 over 3, then 1 over 3, not greater than 2. Now Kali is going to do this 200 times. Work out how many times should he expect the spinner to land on the prime and the dice to be greater than 2. So landing on the prime, this one, and dice greater than 2. So we are going to say the probability for that kind of scenario, we're going to multiply 2 over 3 over 8 times 2 over 3, which is going to be 6 over 24. And then we go down here, 6 over 24. Number of times will be 6 over 24 times the number of times it was done, and exactly that is going to translate to 50. Going to land 50 times. All right, another concept that we need to look at is equations of straight lines. So I believe also this is an area that you need to know how to work out on how to find equation of straight lines. And for you to work out the equation of straight lines, you need to try to check now, in order to work out this, we are going to find the gradient of this line. And you need to remember that gradient of a straight line is change in y over change in x. We can be able to draw a triangle there, and change in x here is actually going to be from 4 all the way to 10. The change in x is actually 6. And then from this point 4 to 1, the change in y is actually going to be 3. Right? So if we find the gradient, because the line is slanting to the left, this is going to be negative 1 over 2. But we are supposed to write the equation of the line L1 in the form y equals to mx plus c. We need to remember that c is the y-intercept, m is the gradient also. M is the gradient. Already we have the gradients, and we need to check the y-intercept. Y-intercept c is actually 6. So we are going to substitute and replace everything that we have here, and our y is going to translate to be y equals to negative 1 over 2x, then plus 6 as the expected equation for this straight line L1. Then the line L2 is perpendicular to L1, and it passes through the point 0, negative 1. Write down the equation for the line L2 in the form y equals to mx plus c. So something that you need to remember under this area is that equation of two lines which are perpendicular, or the gradient of the two lines which are perpendicular, if you find the product of the two numbers, the two gradients, you are going to get negative 1. So meaning m1 times m2 expression is going to be used in this question. If you take the gradient negative 1 over 2 times the second gradient we're trying to find, get negative 1, then we're going to get our m2 to be 2 in this case. And since you are told that this is a line, it passes through a point what? It's passing through a point 0, negative 1. So that will mean what? If it's passing through there, so if this line is passing through here, y-intercept is negative 1, and it has a gradient of 2, then the equation will be this. Right, yeah, that's what we'll do. Direct proportion and inverse proportion is also another area that you need to focus on as you are preparing for your exams, so that you are well prepared. So let us look at this. You are told that A is inversely proportional to B. Complete the table of values here. A is inversely proportional to B. How can we write that? A is inversely proportional to B. We're going to say A equals to K over B. That's what we mean by inverse proportion. Then we are going to find the value of K using 2 and 15. By substituting 2 and 15, we can be able to know what K is, and that's K is going to be actually 30. So therefore the equation connecting A and B is 30 over B. So if we are finding the value of A, we can use that equation, substituting the value of B, which is 4, and get this 7.5 rather. But also if we are finding the value of b when xa is 90, it will mean that we are going to rearrange this equation. I can rearrange it and say b equals to that over a, and then I substitute the value of a at that point, and I get a third. So this is going to be, actually, let me just move it this a little bit. This is going to be 1 over 3. Yeah. In part B is a question to do with direct proportion, and when you are told is directly proportional, that's going to be b equals to k root c, like that. That's the equation that connecting that. Then we can go use c equals to 16 and b equals to 10 in order to work out the value of k. So that will mean that our k is going to be 2.5, and therefore the equation connecting b and c is b equals to 2.5 root c, right? All right, so meaning that remember, we are supposed to find the formula for c in terms of a. For c in terms of a, already we have a somewhere there in terms of b, so meaning that c in terms of a, we're going to say b equals to 2.5 root c. So we can say c is the same as what? Yeah. All right, so we can now make c the subject of the formula at this given point. And if we square both sides, we're going to get that. But our b squared, all right, so we can say therefore b squared, b equals to 30 over a. B equals to 30 over a. Then meaning that we can now substitute 30 over a in the part of b squared. This part and this part here, we can now substitute that, and then we're going to have our answer as, actually, this is going to translate to 144 over, right? So that is what we are going to get. So we are told that shown is a semicircle where AB is a diameter. Remember, when you have a diameter, it subtend a right angle at the circumference. So since AB is a diameter, it subtends a right angle at the circumference. So we can be able to say that this is a right-angled triangle at this given point. We are supposed to work out the exact area of the shaded region. So in order to work out the area of the shaded part, remember, we are going to work out the area of the semicircle, then we subtract the area of the triangle. Now we are supposed to give our answer in the form a pi minus b root 3 in the process of working our question here. So something we need to extrapolate that triangle there. We know this is 30 degrees, this is opposite, and this is adjacent. Now we are given that this is actually 3 root 6. Let us find this x here. So we can be able to use SOHCAHTOA. So since we are having tan 30 equals to opposite over adjacent, we are going to ask ourselves, what is the value of sine 30? And special angles, remember special angles 60 and 30, we can be able to use this triangle in order to state what the value of that is. That is opposite over adjacent, which is going to be root 1 over root a third over 3 root over 6. Then if we simplify here, we are going to get the value of x being equal to what? Rationalizing the denominator, by the way, and this is going to be 3 root 2 as the value of x. Then we can now be able to find AB using Pythagoras theorem. To find the radius, first we need to find the diameter using Pythagoras theorem. So to find the radius, first we need to find the diameter using Pythagoras theorem, whereby we are going to say a squared plus b squared equals to c squared, which will mean that if I extract that triangle like that, I have c, which is the diameter, and I have 3 root 6, and I have the value of x, which I've obtained 3 root 2. If I use the formula for Pythagoras theorem, we can now be able to square everything here and say equals to c squared. Then if we put the like terms together and add this, we're going to get 72. Then find the square root both sides. This is going to be 72. And remember, 72 is the same as 36 times 2. So we can be able to find the square root of 36, square root of 2, and then square root of 36 is 6, and times 2 like that. So we have the diameter, then the radius is going to be divided by 2 here, which is going to be that. So area over the same circle is a half pi r squared, which is going to reduce to 9 pi. If we work it out, we're going to get 9 pi. The next, we're going to work out the area of the triangle, which is half base times height. And remember, now we have the base and we have the height as the value of x, which you had gotten. And if you work it out, you are going to get your final answer being equivalent to 9 to 12, and this is going to divide by 2. Okay, let me just move this a little bit, and then we can now simplify this further, and we shall have 9 root 3. So if we subtract the 2, we are going to say that the area of the shaded area is going to be that. Answer subtracting, and the final answer becomes the form that was expected. Next, we need to look at volume and how to work out question to do with a volume of a cone. So at this given point, I can say you need to prepare on how to work out surface area, volume of a cone given the formula. Also, spheres are also, and hemispheres are some of the key candidates question that you need really to prepare on. We're almost done with this session. We are going to begin by looking at, we are told that cone A has a radius of 8 and a volume of 384 pi. Cone A is enlarged to make cone B. The radius of cone B is 1/4 larger than the radius of cone A. H2 is 1/3 smaller than smaller than H1. So meaning that at this given point, we're given very important information. For this particular part here, since we are given the volumes and the radius, so using this part, we can say this is going to be 1 plus, because we are told 1/4 larger than, so this is going to be 1/4 plus 1, that's going to be 5/4 H1. Yeah, that's going to be 5/4. And also this part is smaller than, so we are going to multiply at 2/3 like that, and then we shall have 5/4 and 2/3. So H1 can be obtained. H1 can be obtained. This is H2 rather. H2 can be obtained. This is H2, not H1. So you can say first, yeah, we need to find H1 rather, the height of cone A. Yeah, we need to find the height of cone A, H1, by the formula V equals to a third pi r squared H1. Since we were given the volume to be 384 pi, so we can be able to apply the formula in order to find H1, and then putting everything together, putting the terms together and trying to simplify everything. We are going to cancel pi and pi, and then we are going to have H1 equals to 384 times divided by 64/3. If we work out this, we are going to get our H1 as actually 18 centimeters as the value of H1. Now, before we move to something else, we were told that the radius was 1/4 larger than that. So we are going to say 5/4 times R1, and that is going to be 8 times 5/4, which is going to translate to 10 centimeters. For H2, we are going to say that is actually H2, which is going to be 2/3 times 18, and that's going to be 12. So we can be able to work out the volume of B using the normal formula for working out volume of a cone. And if we apply the formula there, we are going to get 400 pi as the volume of B. 400 pi as the volume of B. Now, volume increase, we are going to subtract the 2 in order to get the answer, and that is going to translate to 16 pi, which will mean that the fractional increase in this case is going to be, because in this question we're supposed to work out the fractional increase in a simplified form, which is going to be 1/24. All right, Last no, question number 18. Question number 19 is simplifying algebraic fractions, whereby we are having quadratic 16y squared minus 25. This is a difference of two squares, which can be written as, this is a difference, the numerator is a difference of two squares, which can be written as that. And the denominator can be written as, the denominator can factorize to this. So we can say denominator can be written as that. So which means now if we write as the original expression the way it was with the factorized form, we can be able to see that these two will cancel out, and we are going to remain with 4y plus 5 over 3y minus 2 as our final answer, which we shall transform and transfer down here. Now the equation of a circle is given in question 20. The equation of a circle is given by x squared plus y squared minus 4 equals to 32. So meaning we need to write this in the standard form. So this is x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared, and then we are going to say this 36. We are taking 4 on the other side. Then we can write this is x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared equals to 6 squared. So the radius is actually 6. And then we're supposed to calculate whether the point this is inside. Of course, this is the circle with radius 6 and center 0, 0. So we are going to ask ourselves, is the point 2, 3 inside or outside the circle? We are going to substitute the points into the equation and check whether, if the value we put on the left hand side are more than that 6, we say it's outside. But if the values on the left hand side are less than 36, we are going to say it's inside. So that's exactly what we are going to do. 13 is less than 36, so it's inside the circle. We have come to the end of this particular video. I believe you have gotten value from this video. So I believe you can be able to subscribe if you have not subscribed, so that we are going to upload further tutorials, you'll be notified. See you in another video.